Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central on a Tuesday. This is the right place to be this morning because we have a lot in store for you today. The fallout of the APC senatorial primaries and also reactions trailing the weekend's primaries. In Ondo State, a group is calling the primaries kangaroo primaries. And we have sad news from the abductions in Oyo State as one of the teachers, one of the 7 teachers, has been beheaded, and the governor, Shehu Gabam, says we will not bow to terrorism. We'll bring you all those details and more during the course of today's program. I am Benga Aborowa. Welcome to the show.
Welcome indeed. I am Judith Atibi. It's Breakfast Central here for you on News Central. As Benga has rightfully put, so much is lined up for you, but also inside the 10 o'clock hour will be the newspaper reviews. Not to forget that you get to be part of the program. Yes, this is the only morning show that is as interactive as possible, and that means when you go on to YouTube, leave your comments, and inside the 10 o'clock hour, we'll be opening up the phone lines for you to call in. I'm not alone. It's not just myself and Benga, the leader of the gang, Joe
Hansen led Breakfast Central.
He's the ringleader.
Can we stop this?
As opposed.
Can we stop this factional Breakfast Central?
No, I mean, it's just what it is.
So where's Olive-led Breakfast Central?
No, there's no Olive-led. You are.
No.
There's Johansson-led Breakfast Central. There's also Mazino Appeal-led Breakfast
Extra. There we go.
Looking like Julius Abure.
Everybody maintains their level.
By the way, talking about Julius Abure, you guys heard? I think we should have his video where he spoke with News Central as well. Julius Abure says LP forms are free. He threw it open yesterday.
But it's too late. You should have said this a long time ago.
No. In what capacity?
What power do you have what power rests on the embattled national chairman to declare forms for a political party completely free? Now that is shocking.
Also,
that happened yesterday, you know?
Also, it's it goes to show how, like I asked yesterday, how far do you go to destroy what you've built? Does that make any sense? Where do you draw the line in adversary, in being the enemy within? How far would you go to pull down the establishment that you built? And Julius Abure is going down in a way that is unprecedented and, quite frankly, appalling. Is appalling and abhorrent. And I don't know. Somebody needs to rein in him and says, "Look, it's okay. We get it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay."
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Anyway, we're streaming live on YouTube, by the way, so feel free to join us. It's Breakfast Central, and this is where you get your morning freshness or your morning cup of coffee when it comes to news and current affairs. So Nigerians who are joining us from outside Nigeria, like they usually say, Nigerians in the diaspora, thank you for joining in. I did speak with someone yesterday who said, listen, I tune in every morning all the way from the UK, and I do not miss it for anything. Thanks for watching, by the way. Well, let's go straight to our wake-up conversations for today, guys. And there's no other place to start than to look at the stories. Reactions continue to trail APC's conduct of Senate primaries. Over the weekend, we did see a different primary, and we saw the counting. We thought, Benga, that counting will stop, or it would stop.
We thought it was a one-off.
Yeah, I thought, but yesterday, it got to a different kind of level that we've never seen before. And not just that, we also saw sitting senators hustling for their next position like they were hustling for fufu. I mean, I'm just saying, because we saw them jumping up and down. By the way, some of your well-known representatives will not be returning because some of them lost out in the primaries yesterday. But we're going to move on with the story to tell you that Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, on Monday conducted its senatorial primaries across various states nationwide. And just like the controversies that trailed the conduct of its House of Reps primaries over the weekend, more drama unfolded as yesterday's senatorial primaries exercise took a different turn. Now, from shocking defeats to landslide victories, the conduct and reactions have set the tone for the 2027 elections. And it's making every Nigerian wonder, if the primaries look like this, oh my goodness, what will the elections look like? Delta North Senator Ned Nwoko, accordingly, was said to have lost to former governor of Delta State, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa. Permit me to put in bracket embattled, because he has a case with the EFCC, but it seems like nothing's going to happen.
Yeah,
well, let's
and
just
it was
wait.
cleared by the clearing committee.
Exactly. But this morning, a tweet also resurfaced from Senator Ned Nwoko thanking the people for coming out en masse to vote for him and to give him the ticket again. This kind of like makes me wonder what is going on, but we're coming to that. We'll analyze that in a bit. Now, it was said that Nwoko polling 113,309 votes against Nwoko's, Nwoko's 2,612. In some wards, Okowa recorded thousands of votes, while Nwoko managed only 3 votes. Former Governor Yahaya Bello is also in the news. Now, he won a senatorial primary with a wide margin, consolidating his influence in Kogi politics. Imo State Governor is not left out. I'm talking about Hope Uzodinma, who clinched his senatorial ticket, and Senate President Godswill Akpabio also emerged as a sole contender in his district and won unopposed. If you see the way the Senate President won, permit me to switch to Pidgin English. They no born you well to contest in that space. What do I mean? I mean, videos arrive. He stood, you had the security aides. They were all everywhere.
Yeah,
like
DSS,
okay, and then
uniform policemen.
they were there, and then there were indications that everybody move, join the line. Everybody, oh, come on, you join the line. You join the line.
So there was some level of intimidation.
We do not understand how it's done. You know, everyone is wondering, I mean, look at the footage there. You have the DSS, and that same thanking everybody. Let's just watch the footage and watch other videos that we do have from across different states, different wards, and so on. Then, of course, we'll throw the floor open.
Observe what is going on. The people that were sent in from the national headquarters of our party in Abuja to come and conduct this exercise. I've seen members of the civil society organizations who are here also to observe what is going on. I want to thank you that in the whole senatorial district in my party, I am the sole candidate. I happen to be just before now, I was a sole aspirant. But after your good cheer, I'm now the sole candidate. I want to say to God be the glory. I pledge to continue to make you proud. I pledge to work with our president, whom I know that you are also going to elect.
You can see the excitement that is greeting the exercise, and how our people are jubilant, and how committed our party members are, and the loyalty they have shown since we started this primaries. So I'm very happy that the party has grown so strong in Imo State, and I'm very happy that the grassroots base of our party continue to be strong and stronger as we march towards the 2027 elections. So it is a good thing that APC has come to stay in Imo State. A good thing that APC members in Imo State have also conducted themselves, particularly giving the open secret ballot, the option F4 that we have adopted, that is very transparent. I think so far it's the freest and fairest elections that have been conducted. As much as we encourage consensus, for transparency also, we insist that the direct primaries should be adopted so that we don't go into any confusion after the exercise.
It's collation officers and team members that were approved by my committee, by my humble self, to go out and carry that exercise. And they have done their job, and they have reported back to me. So I'm sure they've done everything as required in the guidelines. The chairman for that exercise is Barrister Nadom Andrew Kura.
Rep from INEC, Mrs. Christina Monye. So we're about to commence the election. Now, This is the line for Senator Ned Nwoko. And this is the line for Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. Now we are going to commence by counting the line for Senator Ned before we count the other one. The line for Senator A.I. Okowa. So this is 1, 2, 3 for Ned Nwoko. Now we are going to start this other counting for Senator Ifeanyi This is 1, 2, 3, 4,
Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, 113,309 votes. 113,309 votes. 113,309. Senator Ned Nwoko, 2,612 votes. 2,612 votes. 2,612 votes. Dr. Mrs. Miriam Ali, 40 votes. Dr. Mrs. Miriam Ali, 40 votes. 4-0. This is the result of the primaries election in Delta North Senatorial District.
Okowa, having scored the highest number of votes in the Delta North Senatorial District of APC Senatorial Primaries of Delta North, is hereby declared the winner of this election.
Okay, all right. So there
tale
you
of
have it.
winners and losers, and those who are going to appeal and those who are disgruntled. But at the end of the day, we move, as
The
they
National
say.
Working Committee of the APC has their table filled
Filled
in
up,
the next couple
petition.
of weeks. Yeah, in the next coming days, there'll be lots of aggrieved members, and I wonder how they'll navigate it all.
There's a
And
lot.
there might be lots of compensation too, you know. And I guess what comes to my mind, the low-hanging fruit is, okay, we'll refund your expression of interest and nomination fees. So you can, at least you have that. It will reduce the pain. So many of these people, it's not the pain of losing out on the position, it's that, what's it, law? 10 million. We're talking of millions of naira. So, and then the method in which they were, you know, some were schemed out, and that. But I guess it's the beauty of democracy. Everyone has a say. You have a right to appeal to the National Working Committee, and you can try again next time.
Hopefully, they can try again next time.
But INEC has, and I think I like what they did.
What did they do?
The registration of parties, because if not, 24 hours later, you'd have been seeing a flurry of activities. They are decamping to this party and that party, and it's made us really.
Would you say INEC, or would you say
calmed.
it's the assembly itself?
Oh yeah, the National
they-
Assembly
they-
for passing
Yeah,
the law.
they made the laws.
True.
And currently, as we speak, it seems like the law, what they had put inside the Electoral Act, is now working perfectly. Unfortunately, not to the benefit of majority of them, because they're stuck now. You can't go anywhere.
It serves them right. So you should really think about
Yeah.
your move. If you're
can't
going
go
to join
anywhere.
a political party, think it through. like Peter Obi and Kwankwan.
So now,
they had seen the writing on the wall. That's why they moved before the gates closed.
are we going to say Peter Obi has been exonerated?
Yes.
You think so with
Yes.
everything that's going on?
Yes, I think he has been.
But what's going on is in the APC.
No,
You've
I
not
mean-
seen
I mean-
ADC.
I mean, with the Labour
primary.
Party, you can also say that.
With different parties.
Right? And NDC only time will tell. I mean, look at the PDP. The reason why he moved in the first place from the PDP to the Labour Party, he's now been exonerated, seeing all that's played out with the PDP. Same from his movement from the Labour Party to the NDC. Now we've seen all that's happened with Labour Party. From the NDC to the, from the ADC to the NDC, we're now seeing what's going on with the ADC. I just strongly believe that for me, it's, you say 10 million, but I also think there's more to it than just the cash, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's not just wounded ego. I think that it's also pulling the carpet under them, is blindsiding them, right? Because many of, I mean, Okowa and Ned Nwoko, Ned is part of the assembly. He was there during, when those laws were being made. Part of those who said, those in favor say aye.
And they said
aye. We also, voice voted this bill that is become an act, right? Ah. And so the ayes have now had it. So I think that what's going on...
The ayes are now saying...
The ayes are now... My goodness. And so what I see here is people who have been blindsided. I think that they thought they were part of the inner caucus, so to speak, but they quickly come to realize that they're not part of it. And being blindsided it now means they're going to be aggrieved. And again, like they always say...
Aggrieved and forced to remain in the party.
And forced to remain in the party,
for
right?
For the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future, right? And then the sad thing, not the sad thing, but the fortunate thing about this, and, those who are the followers of the mandate and who, chant the mandate and wear the emblems, I've always said that, they are the person that they follow and the leader of the party is one who rewards, loyalty and hard work, And so maybe this is his own way to test them for their loyalty and how truly are they aligned with the mandate? How much are they standing on the mandate? Because they seem to forget that the mandate may not be short term, it's long term. So they want to test your loyalty to the mandate. So buckle up, chap. It's a long ride.
It's a long ride. Over 50 lawmakers will not be returning, so we hear. Some names, very popular names as well. And the shock is still shocked because everywhere first blow, like they say on the street partners. So they're wondering, what is going on? How did we get here? But let's see how Nigerians are reacting to some of these reports, especially coming from the primaries of the All Progressives Congress. There are also videos yesterday circulating, but let's get to see some of the responses on X very quickly. On X, it says, Okpoluwa says, this is too embarrassing, abeg. All the Arioma State gimmicks didn't work. LOL, he's laughing, and he's wondering what's going on. Let's get to see another one very quickly. Another tweet very quickly. John Oyesile says, if you can't win a direct primary, agree to a consensus to avoid embarrassment. Regina Daniel will now be laughing.
Why bring Regina Daniel into
I don't understand how she got it.
This is a private family issue.
Anyway, Wisdom Chap Jumbo says at least nobody can accuse former Governor Okowa of bribing delegates or members of the party to win the primaries. This is brutal. LOL, he laughs. Democracy direct primaries, wow, he says. It's just the way in which it was done that will make you, wonder.
I mean, the eyes don't deceive us. We saw the cues, we saw videos. So that purported tweet that came out this morning declaring victory.
Thanking the people,
Thanking the people. Victory of what?
He's taking a page out of Abure's book.
Well, let's just wait and see. Maybe
his account was
there's also a press release that was put out by the APC. I think we saw that early this morning, the early hours of this morning. I just want to see if I can lay my hands on that press release. Yes, disclaimer, it says unauthorized announcement of senatorial direct primary results. That's what it says. In that press release, it says the attention of the National Secretariat has been drawn to various results being announced across several states regarding the senatorial direct primaries. These unauthorized announcements directly contravene the established position of the National Secretariat and the formal directive of the National Working Committee of our great party. The NWC explicitly mandated that no results should be announced at any senatorial level until they have been formally reviewed, verified, and approved by the committee. I have a problem with that, verified and approved.
It's the same. They just want to use extra English.
Approved. What if the result has been collated?
Shouldn't you have a rep from the NWC right there during the exercise?
Anyway.
Why do you have to go through that long process?
It says, on this note, we call on all party faithful and the general public to disregard any results being speculated upon or circulated.
So they should
as they do not represent the official decision of the party.
They should upload the official.
And finally, Benga, it says, we remain committed to ensuring a free, fair, and credible electoral process. We assure all stakeholders that the authentic results will be formally communicated upon the conclusion of the entire exercise. So what they're telling us as members of the press is, let's relax.
Let's relax. Well, I will say this. If I were the leader of a party and I'm looking at the next 4 years, and I'm looking at the persons who are going to be on my Senate or in my party that will hold positions of power.
If they win at the elections.
No, not just win, right? Not just win at the elections, but also that willed power that I can use, soft power. That's what we're talking about here. If you put Okowa, who is a former governor, a former vice governor of a state, right? Governor. Was he a governor or was he a deputy?
And former
governor. And a former
during the
2023 elections.
Presidential aspirant.
Yeah. Sorry, it was 2019.
And a former senator too.
Right, and a former senator. If you look at all of them, who are you going to pick?
That's the people's choice.
It's a people's choice, but also if you are saying that
and it's
you are
not
going
by
to wait to
political
confirm
results. What are you going to deliver? And you don't know what the other parties have for the same senatorial seats.
Yeah, so you want to pick your best man.
People that would decide.
You might rule out their election and decide to go consensus.
Yesterday, a thug assaulted one of the chairmen of a party. I was shocked yesterday. He was holding the banner already, and the thugs came and chuckled him in the neck, and so on. Everybody kept saying, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, the point, the bane of all of this is that these are just primaries of the incumbent. We're not talking about the real deal. So what would the real deal look like? If people are getting agitated, people are already doing all they can to
incidents of violence, there were reports of gunshots in Ondo State.
People have lost their lives in these primaries over the weekend in the north. 2 persons were reported to have lost their lives just for primaries. And some people were actually rushed to hospitals because of violent attacks just for primaries. And makes you wonder, we just got started. We haven't even got into the main elections yet. But then again, those are some of the stories that we'll be bringing to you later in the course of the day. We'll look forward to have our interview. I can't wait to speak to an honorable member on what he thinks about the current primaries, especially of the APC. Unfortunately, those who had moved, okay, there you have the press release there. Unfortunately, those who had moved to the APC, believing that as soon as they get there, things will become very easy. It will become a flower that's been put on a bed of roses, petals and all that. Nah, it's not looking that way for them. But I think we should move on, guys, to our next story. We'll come back to, like I said, we have a full show to look into some of these issues.
Yeah.
Benga, I don't know if you want to take this one.
Yes, the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, has finally spoken on the abducted pupils and teachers in Oyo State. President Bola Tinubu has condemned the killing of a teacher during the Oyo attacks, describing it as barbaric, and pledged the security forces are working round the clock to rescue abducted students, teachers, and staff. He also called for urgent legislation to establish state police to better secure vulnerable communities. The president's reaction comes 3 days after the bandits invaded schools in Esiele community, Orire local government area, abducting teachers, students, and pupils. Sadly, one of the kidnapped teachers has been killed. Let's take a listen to the president. And there's also tweets and statements made by the State House. This is from Bayo Ononuga. It says President Tinubu assures on rescue of kidnapped victims in Oyo State, condemns reported killings of abducted teacher. President Bola Tinubu has condemned the barbaric. Yeah, we just read this right now. So that's a statement from President Tinubu, and it's so many reactions have trailed the statement that here we go again. It's almost like a copy and paste type of situation with things hardly changing on the ground, because you could point to so many instances where this has taken this pattern. We condemn this, we're waiting for state policing. Please, there's a clear and present danger that is affecting the lives of millions of Nigeria, and they can't wait. The president gave a marching order to the newly appointed Inspector General of Police, IGP Tunji Disu, to come up with modalities to implement state policing. And he said, look, from what we see, it will take more than 1 year. And the Senate has to, you need to think it through. And I don't even think the state policing will be the silver bullet to stop all forms of insecurity in Nigeria. So while that is good and it's ongoing on one side, the issue is that Nigerians are currently being killed in different parts of the country and abducted and kidnapped, and all sorts of terrible things are happening to them. And as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, like you told President Goodluck Jonathan when he was in office, that the buck stops at your table. The buck stops at President Tinubu's table. And sadly, we've seen a repeated pattern of this, and it really, really needs to end. Saying state policing, that's an aside. We need present and immediate solutions to this issues, because life is precious, and you can't bring back lives that have been lost.
Very sad.
Sad indeed. Let's take reactions that have followed this story. Many persons have been reacting on Twitter. First of all, we're going to get started with Haiti, that's Agent Jake. He says, after 3 days, so fast, thanks. We don't deserve this government. You are too good. Sarcasm there. This is Deolu needs to catch a break. He goes, update on the assurance he gave Plateau people insensitively from an airport lobby that there won't be any more killing in states between then and May 13th. That have been there have been 10 documented attacks with over 50 deaths. Move on to the next one. I'm struggling here without my glasses. Ada Amadioha. Kidnappers behead Nigerians. Issue press release. Terrorists slaughter Nigerians. Issue press release. Oil tanker explodes and kills innocent Nigerians. Issue press release. Police officers shoot unarmed Nigerians. Issue press release. That seems to be the solution.
So sad.
This is Olu Awo. Tech-driven operation on Akpabio is really giving his all.
What do you mean by
Thank you so much. What do you know about tech-driven solutions? Winners Avenue. How will he rescue the teacher that has been beheaded already? 3 questions back there to let you know he's serious.
The first tweet, Joe, very instructive about the timing. 3 days later.
3 days later. That's the first tweet.
I mean, so you could talk about the press releases. The press releases aren't even coming on time. The acknowledgement is not even 3 days later.
This attack happened on Friday. It happened on Friday. Yesterday while we're here on the show,
we called out.
We're taking our time to see if we could find.
You checked
the presidency's reaction to the sad situation. There was none, but I can confirm to you that Mr. Bayo Ononuga put out this press release at 5 p.m. as at yesterday. When that dropped, of course, we do have alerts on our phones, and we checked and we saw that. While we're saying that press release is okay, it's fine.
At least you acknowledge.
But it's sad that this has to continue. And like one of the tweets Judith read from the reactions of Nigerians, everything is now looking like, oh, it's happened, issue a press release. We did see this same pattern happen during the time of the former late President Muhammadu Buhari, where the word that was mostly used and Nigerians kept shouting was condemn, 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 condemn. Prior to that, during the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's time, we also saw press releases that were put out there. And recall that when these press releases were put out there, the current president and his team went ahead to ensure that, to say, no. If you can't do the job...
Yes, he was very vocal about it. We remember
talking.
the
So
receipts are there, the evidence is there.
And
that the box stops at your table.
That's part of the statement he made, that the box says there's no excuse. You need to leave. And there's a plethora of tweets. Now, if you go down to the time of Obasanjo, a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, remember the Udi issue and so on and so forth. We've seen people talk, we've seen people act. So we have examples of, Nigeria has examples of presidents who didn't just do the talking. They acted.
Yeah.
They acted. They went ahead to carry on action. I don't know how to say this, but I feel pain this morning when I saw the story. I couldn't watch that video. And I would advise anyone, if you don't have the stamina and the strength, please don't watch of the unaliving of the teacher, one of the teachers. And there are threats we hear that they might unalive more. We also hear the governor said...
And it's taking a new dimension, because typically, if it's kidnapping for ransom, we don't see this sort of behavior.
Right.
So what sort of message are they sending? And, you know, they need to... The government needs to stop playing with kids' gloves and, you know, just go all out and eliminate this terrorist and bandits or whatever nomenclature we use. But this brings to the end this morning's wake-up conversations. We're about to dive deep into the main business of the day. But let's give you top stories for today. We'll be looking at the APC senatorial primaries that took place yesterday ahead of the 2027 elections. Governor Makinde of Oyo State addresses Oyo school attack and says they will not bow to terrorism. I would also be discussing with representatives of the ADC ahead of their primaries, and Nasir El-Rufai family demands as is currently in detention. We'll bring you the newspaper front pages where you can call in and share your thoughts with us at the 9 o'clock hour. Do stay with us. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
So we can say it's official. The countdown is on to 2027. Let's start off with news this morning on our top stories that the All Progressives Congress is facing growing post-primary tensions after its nationwide House of Representatives primaries exposed deep cracks in several state chapters ahead of the 2027 elections. Now, while the party leadership insists the exercise was largely peaceful and transparent, reports of parallel primaries, allegations of candidate imposition, disqualifications as well, and rejected results have continued to trail the exercise in states including Edo, Rivers, Gombe, Ondo, Ekiti, and Plateau. Now, in some states, consensus candidates coasted to victory unopposed, while in others, powerful incumbents suffered shocking defeats, raising fresh concerns about internal democracy, factional influence, and the battle for control within the ruling party.
The APC has since moved to centralized communication on the exercise, directing that all official briefings be handled from Abuja as uneasy calm persists across several chapters. Now, with appeals already mounting and defeated camps yet to openly concede in many states, attention is now shifting to whether the ruling party can contain the fallout before the next phase of its primaries.
Now, join us this morning to unpack the implications of this development is Chukwuemeka Victor, councillor representing Ward 19 and APC aspirant for Ndokwa Okwani Federal Constituency. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Victor, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Yeah. Your party, the APC, says the primaries were largely peaceful and credible, yet we're seeing parallel exercises, rejected results, and accusations of candidate imposition in several states. What does this say about the state of internal democracy within the APC? And what's your own personal assessment of the exercises we've witnessed so far? The House of Representatives primaries and also the senatorial primaries that took place yesterday.
It is not out of place for the party to give a very good remark about the outcome of the elections. The party is also, we try everything humanly possible to make sure that the dignity of the party is protected, and that's also I will do. But in the case under reference, I contested the election under the Ndokwa Federal Constituency here in Delta State, and I can categorically give you the reports of what happened. What really happened across the 30 wards of Okwa Ndokwa Federal Constituency was a total breach in the electoral law and also in the party constitution. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to start looking into the sections of the electoral law that were breached, but the fact remains that some political actors at the state level had felt supremacy. They assumed supremacy of the conduct of the election, using the party as a conduit to to carry out their activities. Here, a lot of breaches were observed, and our team of lawyers are also reviewing the conduct and the outcome of the election. Of course, we are mindful of the time that we have to seek redress if it becomes very necessary, which I know.
Honorable Victor, sorry to interrupt
So,
you. Can you give us specific incidents of some of these breaches that you're referring to?
In most wards, in most of the wards in our federal constituency, the returning officers only came with jotters and not with the result sheets. Even in my ward, where almost, let me say about 99% of the voters, that's the card-carrying members of the party, the evidences are there, the videos are there for public scrutiny. Even when they say no, they are going to vote for me, the returning officer refused, deliberately refused, because they have the instruction from the state, to ensure that they manipulated the result in favor of their choice candidate. Even regardless of that, across the world, people came out en masse and voted for me. But in most of the places where I won this election, they refused deliberately to record the results. And most importantly, it was at the collation center. I'm not supposed to give this as an hint, but like I said, our legal team are working to see what we are going to do at the end of the day. I do not want, if I go more into the breaches, it becomes a loophole for them,
so that you don't preempt.
Get as a defense.
Yeah, and also so that you don't preempt.
I do not need to preempt them. I do not need to preempt them.
That's fine. That's fine.
Next line of action.
Chukwemeka, let me ask you. So, when it was D-Day for the primaries, you stood and then you had people stand behind you. Was that what you did?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
that was the practice.
Okay, so you stood in front, and then you had your supporters, those who are part of the, your party, stand behind you.
Lined up behind me.
Behind
me. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Now you said INEC representatives were there. They had a jotter, and they
there was no INEC representative.
Okay.
There was no INEC. It was deliberate. It was a kangaroo election here in my federal constituency. They ensured that whatever they are doing, they were doing it. In fact, it was total breach and violation of the electoral law. The electoral law, particularly Section 83, subsection 5, I think they are using that as a shield, but that is a misinterpretation of the law, because they feel the law says that we cannot discuss internal party affairs, but at the end of the day, we know what to do. Like I said, our legal team are working. They are taking note of every breaches, and the rest of that at the end of the day, we are going to take very drastic decisions to ensure that we dot the I's and cross the T's when necessary.
Okay. All right. So my next question to you would be, eventually, let's presume or assume that you lost out, right?
I did not lost out. I won overwhelmingly.
Okay,
I won overwhelmingly.
So
and
what was published?
The for voting for me.
What result was put out?
I won the election overwhelmingly. Yes, that they manipulated the results, and now there's an instruction from the national office of our great party, the APC, that they do not have the right to declare anybody winner of the election. So we are also hopeful that at the end of the day, the national office of our party will declare me the winner of the election. And if they work with the instruction of the state governor or instruction of the power that be at the state level, be rest assured that we'll take the necessary step to address it. And I'm very certain that my mandate, the mandate of the people, will be retrieved accordingly.
Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, you've said you won exceedingly, and you would wait for your lawyers to carry on what they need to carry on, talking to the National Working Committee. I don't know if Judith has one last question as we wrap up very quickly.
I wanted to ask how long you've been a member of the APC.
We are the founding fathers of the party in Delta State. I became a member of the All Progressive Congress in 2015. And as time progresses, of course, we move into election, several elections, and I contested the election under the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. So when you talk about foundation members of the party, we are before, this return of the All Progressive Congress that took place in Delta State. As a matter of fact, none of these persons that are parading themselves as members of APC can boastfully say they are members of APC, because if we did not build the party in 2015, of course, they will see no party to come and express dominance. So we are very much aware of some of the things that needed to be done to ensure that the party is at peace and to ensure that the party gets its integrity back, in the annals of political history in Nigeria.
If come the announcement of the results and it so happens that you were not named the winner for the primaries, what will be your next line of action?
Of course, we'll take steps accordingly, as advised by my lawyers. My team of lawyers just have to advise while we look into the breaches. Of course, the breaches are just so obvious. Yes, if they do otherwise, of course, we'll go to the court, because they've misinterpreted Section 83, subsection 5. They thought that we cannot approach the court. I mean, aggrieved individuals who were robbed during the election, they felt they cannot approach the court, but that is wrong. We have every right to go to the court to seek redress and get the people's mandate back.
Okay. I thought it was going to be treated as an internal party issue, but you said it's being misconstrued and you have to head to the court. This is not internal issue. This is reality. Yes. As we wrap up, I mean, we're still waiting for directive, so as it is. Can you confirm to us that Governor Siminalayi Fubara also got an easy flow or entrance into becoming the APC governorship?
I'm not from Rivers State. I won't discuss the politics of Rivers State. I'm from
I mean, you're an APC member, so I thought I can ask.
State remains, whatever happened in Rivers State should be discussed in Rivers State.
Okay, I thought it's fine. I just thought since as an APC member.
In Delta State.
Okay, no, I thought as an APC member, you're also aware of what is happening within the party as well, especially in the South. But it's fine. Thank you for your time and thanks for talking to us. We wish you all the best, and we do hope that your lawyers will work tirelessly to ensure that what you deem to be yours will definitely turn around to be yours. Thanks for your time and all the best.
Not just mine, but for the people. It is the people's mandate. I represent the people. The people, in fact, donated funds for me to buy the expression and nomination forms. A lot of persons, of course, as a councillor, where do you expect a councillor to raise such amount of money to prosecute this election? The people home and abroad, the people of Ndokwa and the federal constituency, put funds together based on my antecedents and my precedents in the council. My records in the council as a serving councillor, though suspended for seeking the financial records and the income and expenditure of council. As a councillor, what I did propelled the people of Ndokwa and the federal constituency home and abroad to ensure that I contested the election. So it's not about me. It is the mandate of the people that was stolen, and definitely we will retrieve it.
Thank you very much, Chukwemeka Victor, for your time with us.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
We now switch conversations to the Honourable Commissioner for information in Delta State. We're joined by Honorable Charles Aniogu this morning. Good morning to you, Honorable Commissioner, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central this morning. Our last guest, who happens to be an APC...
I can hear you, Joe. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, our last guest, who happens to be an APC member and a serving councillor, did throw his hat in the House of Representatives primaries in APC, and he left a bitter feeling in his mouth. He described, in his own words, he called them kangaroo primaries. What's your assessment of the senatorial and the House of Representatives primaries of your great party, the APC, in Delta State, Honorable Commissioner?
Once again, good morning, Joe, Benga, and Judith, and then good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning,
Let me appreciate you for making this platform available to us to be able to examine a number of issues with respect to the primaries of the APC, particularly the House of Reps and that of the Senate, which just ended yesterday. Victor is my brother. He's from our state, from Ndokwa Ukwane Federal Constituency. He was a councillor and then, of course, suspended several times. You also heard him mention that. And the issues he has raised, he knows that he's not telling the truth, because I didn't even know that he was even contesting at all. And internal party issues, you are supposed to reach out to leaders at different levels and then be able to connect with them, because you are going to be dealing with party members to vote. And you're expected to know those party members, either through their leaders in the different wards or through their brothers and sisters, because it's an internal affair where you are expected to know members of your party. And when you know them, you interact with them, you are able to also put across your intention. But beyond putting across your intention, oftentimes they also know you, because in a number of meetings you meet with them. So they are supposed to assess you without having to look for a third party to assist them in doing that. Victor knows that he was nowhere near the race at all. But you know, they do these things to try to discredit the process. And he's a young man. I don't think he should continue along that trajectory, because that's not too good for him. He quite well knows that the election, particularly in the area he's talking about, in Ndokwa Ukwane, was more or less an election that was really won and lost even before the game started. And how do I mean? The person representing them in the House of Representatives at the moment is Ezechi, Honorable Ezechi. And Honorable Ezechi is one young man who has been able to connect with his people across the 30 wards in that federal constituency. And Ezechi also has a whole lot of friends and is doing well across the 3 local governments in that federal constituency. The next person that you could say was a challenger was the person that Ezechi took over from Honorable Sai, who represented that federal constituency 3 times, as 3 terms of 12 years in the House of Representatives. And somehow he has lost touch with the people. And so even before the primary started, it was obvious that Ezechi was more or less ahead of them because of the kind of grassroots support that he enjoys. So Victor, I wouldn't know why he want to just come in when he knows that he's not even known by people who are in that federal constituency, let alone coming to contest against persons that have a grassroots support. Well, that is with response to the issues raised by my brother Victor. Now let's speak on a general note. I want to appreciate, using your medium, to appreciate our governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori, for allowing the party members to have a very, very free and fair ground to contest and compete. In the course of the elections, I am happy your medium is doing very well. You monitor through your correspondent and data the number of consultations across the different federal constituencies, 30 in number, and the 3 senatorial districts. Those who were serious in the race, you saw them moving around, consulting, speaking to the people, dealing with the different arms of the party in the different local government areas, because they were very serious. Then there were those who were very busy in Abuja, looking for how to lobby people to disqualify others, or looking for how they can have what you may call scholarship to return. Unfortunately, the party decided that let the people speak. And by the time the party took that decision, it became too late for them to come back to re-energize, reconnect with the people. And so all they depended on was to just come and say the primary was not free and fair. Good enough. You also saw that being option A4, where people have to queue, it's not a question of saying that somebody snatched the ballot paper. or that those who were not supposed to vote voted. You saw the number in the case of what you showed a while ago in a place called Otopo in the Kano Northeast, where Senator Ned Nwoko scored 3 and Senator Okowa scored over 3,000 votes. You saw the line. And so when you see that kind of thing and somebody is telling you that the election was rigged against him, you know that that is not the truth. So my brother Joe, I can bet you that across the 10 federal constituencies and the 3 senatorial districts in Delta, the election was very, very well conducted. Your correspondents told a number of the places, and they will bring the reports. Don't even take my word for it. They will show you what happened. I happen to be one of the return officers in 2 of these elections, and I know what I saw on ground, that obviously these individuals didn't prepare. Perhaps as we go deeper into this discussion, I'll be able to let you know what I mean by saying that they did not prepare for the election.
I mean, you might as well just go ahead to tell us what they mean by that, because so far so good, and not just in Delta State, but also other parts where these primaries have been conducted. There have been issues of great grievances regarding the process itself. Persons coming out to say they did have, the support of the grassroots, but then the results, or so far what's coming out of the polls, is completely different. Although we hear that the National Working Committee have put out a statement saying that they will not affirm any results and they will wait until the investigations before, putting out the results. But you were there, you are Chieftain, you're also a returning officer. Tell us, is there a difference? The sentiment of the grassroots, will it be reflected in the results, or is there, as critics have argued, a classic case of pretenders and contenders? There we go. This is what I was looking for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judith. That was a very apt description of what is on ground. Somebody like Victor is more or less a pretender. He knew he was not contending with anybody in that election. There are those who actually were very much serious in the race, and they wanted to contest, and they contested, and they did that by reaching out to the people, and at the end of the day, the people spoke, and spoke very, very loudly. Now, on the issues you raised, I am not too sure that particular statement came from the national headquarters of the party. What the party said, that they sent officials to the different federal constituencies, and in the case of the senatorial election, to the different senatorial districts. And then nobody asked anybody not to announce the result as they happened, both on the field and in the different senatorial or House of Representatives headquarters. Because not doing so will amount to creating some form of chaos and upheaval. Imagine after people when they have collected results, and you tell somebody that you want to take it somewhere to announce. You want them to kill the return officer. So that particular statement, we don't know where it came from. The results were announced across the 109 senatorial districts in our country. And of course, the 360 federal constituencies where the election took place. So anybody telling you that they were asked not to announce the result, that is not true. What the party did is that they set up an appeal panel. In the event that you feel you were shortchanged, you can proceed with the evidence you have to the appeal panel, which sits almost immediately. And then that appeal panel can afford to say, okay, we are suspending this result, or we are taking this decision. But that, of course, will not happen in most of these places because a number of these persons are pretenders. I told you a while ago that some of these persons did not at all come to the party. And how do I mean? If, for instance, you are contesting to occupy a senatorial seat, there are what we call down ballot. The House of Representatives becomes a down ballot in your senatorial districts. The House of Assembly in that senatorial district also becomes a down ballot. And then what is your connection with also your local government chairman, your commissioners? I take, for instance, Delta North, where I am from. I am not just a commissioner in the Delta State Executive Council. I also have the privilege of leading my ward in Akumazu Mocha in the Kano Northeast local government area. Senator Ned Nwoko did not even speak to any of the commissioners. In the senatorial district, 10 of us in number. He did not speak to the 9 House of Assembly members. He did not consult them. These are the people that connect with the grassroots. The 9 local government areas and their chairmen, he did not even visit any one of them to talk to them. And how do you expect to just come and win a party election where you know that this individual, to a very large extent, controls these other persons in the party because they are the one that hosts meetings with them. They are the one that serves as a link between them and the government. Why his opponent, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, He's not only connecting with these individuals that I mentioned, Okowa has not less than 20% in each of these wards, direct contact. When I mean 20%, direct contact. And these are about 20 leaders. If you come, for instance, to my ward, where I am the leader, there are other levels of leaders that have direct contact with him. Ned Nwoko is not even connecting with me that is the leader, let alone all the other leaders in the world. And you expect to just come on an election day and win. How is it that going to happen in a party election where members of the party are the ones voting? Ditto, a number of other places, even in Delta Central. Senator Ede Dafinone have been connecting with the people across the 8 local governments in Delta Central. The same thing, Senator Joel Onuakpo. These individuals reached out before this election. They have had cause to carry out some form of empowerment programs. They connect with the people. And I went to Ethiopia West yesterday to conduct the election in Ethiopia, to collect the result from the 11 wards in Ethiopia West. I took the advantage and the privilege to be able to also move around to some of the wards. I could see the queue in one of the wards when the people find out that we were supporting Senator Ede Dafinone. About 10 other persons that were supposed to vote for Senator Omo Agege were intimidated by the queue. I was practically begging them to please come and queue. They refused to queue because they saw that it was going to be embarrassing. They ended up leaving the field and not even queuing at all. Do you expect somebody to come and take vote to them in the house when they refuse to queue? And so that was also the story across many of these wards, because these individuals thought that Abuja was going to just pronounce them as traditional rulers in this senatorial election. Unfortunately, Abuja did not provide that coronation venue. The coronation venue became the ward levels where the election took place. Good enough is option A4. I gave you an example of what happened in Otopo ward in Eka Northeast, where you saw Ned Nwoko scoring 3. And Okowa getting over and short. When you saw the queue, you see that even the cameraman was running, yet he could not even get to the end of the queue.
Honorable.
The queue was almost as long as more than 1 kilometer.
Right, Honorable. If
they told you that they won, let them show you their queues, let them show you the officers that conducted their own election. Right. So they usually come up with this story after they have lost because they never prepared to make it look as if nothing happened. My sister Judith,
you said, sir, that
and my 2 brothers, Joe and Benga.
There's something
those
you said,
who lost in Delta lost very well.
There's something you said earlier that I would just like for you to expatiate on. You said that every person's who they've all sent at least 20 of their representatives across different wards to solicit for their support from party members, right? And then you said they also carried out empowerment programs. So I want to hamper on the empowerment program that you're talking about.
No.
Somewhat of an empowerment program. Just bear with me, sir. If we're talking about that,
that was what I said.
I think that would also, I mean, Ned Nwoko was a sitting senator for 4 years.
Let me clarify, Judith.
I want you to clarify, but I want to expatiate on it.
Can I clarify, Judith?
Just for a second, sir. If you just allow me, please, sir. But for the last 4 years, Ned Nwoko has been a sitting senator, and I believe he has carried out different projects across his constituents. Is there a chance that that is not enough to return? And also, does he not have power of incumbency in this case? I mean, since you said that, he was expecting a coronation in some sense, what more does the grassroots expect from him?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me even start from the Ned Nwoko issue that you raised. First of all, he has been in the Senate for about 3 years now, and that going to the Senate was more or less a scholarship extended to him by Senator Okowa when he was a governor, because Okowa left the Senate to contest for the governorship in 2015. And thereafter, Senator Nwoboshi came in, served for 2 terms, and then as at the time it was time for another election, Senator Okowa, of course you recall, became the vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. And then Ned Nwoko pleaded that they should support him. And Okowa then directed that those of us who work with him should please support Ned Nwoko, because since Ned Nwoko had been trying to take a shot at the senatorial seat. And we gave him the support because we saw the need to respect our leader. So that was why I said that it was more or less a scholarship that took him to the Senate. But as soon as he got to the Senate, he decided to ignore the benefit of that scholarship, just like what Chino Atibe talked about, those who had a benevolent spirit cracking their palm kernels, and then forgetting that that benevolent spirit can only be available if it is appreciated. So that particular gesture, of course, wasn't appreciated, and our people did not feel the impact of his representation. I am from the senatorial district where he's from. He had not carried out any single empowerment program. Let him come and show you where he carried out that empowerment program. He has not been able to attract any project to the 9 local governments in Delta North. He has preoccupied himself with what looks like a sham call for an aneoma, which he called anemoma, different from the coloration of the aneoma that we have. In Delta State, Judith, we have the aneoma people occupying 9 local governments in the Delta North senatorial districts, individuals and persons who continue to wish and would love to remain in the southern zone, that is the south-south geopolitical zone, and not to be merged with any other persons. Individuals who also love the power, particularly in the case of Delta, persons who believe that the headquarters and the capital of Delta State, and even if we were to create an Neoma, should still remain in Asaba. But because he wanted to do some form of a sham appeal for state creation, he is discussing with persons in other places, promising them that once that is created, that they will be able to take the capital out of Asaba. How are you going to do that? There has never been anywhere in the history of Nigeria, apart from the issue of a movement of the Federal Capital Territory from Lagos to Abuja. There has never been any other state where they had to move the capital from one place to another, because you know the kind of crisis that could create. And that's the kind of thing that's the only thing that he can have as credit, even when it is not credit to himself. And so when you have that kind of thing happening, and the people know better that that is not in their own interest, and you are not connecting with them. I gave you an example a while ago that these other persons connect. Now, talking about the issue of the 20 persons I talked about, I didn't say 20 persons were appointed to go from one place to the other. I said in most of the wards, these senators who won, particularly Okowa in Delta North, where I am from, had individuals, very key persons that he can relate with, not because of this primary election, but on daily basis, that he can relate with. They call his number, he speaks to them, he knows their name, he knows even their unit. So that becomes more like a family issue, and this election is a family affair, because internal party primaries is members of the political family, and being for members of the political family, you expect that there's some form of relationship that exists. You cannot sit down in Abuja. You are consulting in Abuja. You are looking for who to ask them to disqualify so that you can just come. And you want Abuja to impose you on the people. Abuja that also need to connect with the people. That mathematics didn't work. That coronation from afar didn't work. You needed to come to the king's men and then possibly stay in the palace and be coronated by the kingmakers. And the kingmakers in this instance are the voters who belong to the party. They have been able to sit in their palaces, in this case their wards. They queued very, very fervently. And they voted very, very objectively for those candidates that they have been seeing and for those candidates that they relate with. Ned Nwoko could possibly have another preoccupation after May 29, 2007. But as to represent the great people of Anioma and the great people of Delta North, the people of Delta North have spoken and they have said the man that they need. In any case, Judith, Ned Nwoko couldn't have been a match to Senator Okowa, and he knows it. For so many reasons. Okowa just left office barely 3 years ago as a governor. And is a governor that performed creditably to the admiration of all. Beyond that, since he left office, he did not leave this country to go and begin to stay abroad for months. He has always been in Delta. And in each of those days he's in Delta, he attends functions. He visits people when they are grieving. He visits them when they are rejoicing, in the case of people who are getting married. And you may think it doesn't matter. They say, man, talk to man, man, listen. The moment you have a connection, that love, you should expect that that sentiment of that relationship will also speak and speak very, very loud at a time like this. Ask Ned Nwoko, how many of those events does he attend? And he wants to come and ask the people who are voting internally as members of his party to now go and support him. So, from day one, he knows that even in the social media, he was not even going to win, let alone winning on ground. So, Judith, Benga, and Joe, I am happy your medium have very well covered the activities in Delta, particularly the political developments. And you know that those who won in this primary are indeed those who are favored to win because they have been able to show that they have a grassroots connect. In the case of Omo Agege in Central, he too, for a very long time, did not prepare to come into the party. When I mean party, that is this event of this election. Ask him. We had the primaries of the House of Representative members. There are 3 from Delta Central. Which of them could he say is my candidate, which you call down ballot, that is helping him to also mobilize the grassroots? How many of the House of Assembly persons that are contesting is he in touch with? So it's a question of him trying to rely on old glory that was not very glorious politically, and as such he think that he was going to win. There was no way he was going to win. They thought that their influences in Abuja is their own exclusive preserve. They don't know that other persons also have access to those persons they are also reaching out to in Abuja to allow the process to be free and fair. And we must appreciate the president and the leadership of the party in Abuja for allowing the process to be free and fair. We must also, like I said earlier, appreciate our governor who said, let the people go to the field. And they went to the field and the result came back from the field. And Judith, the result is what you saw being announced yesterday and last Saturday.
Okay, so can you categorically say that this primaries, this formula is the best for the APC? Because some big names will no longer return to the House of Representatives or, House of Assembly. It's going to be a tough one for them because it seems like the Senate would lose some of its members. I mean, we've seen, like you mentioned, Honorable Ned Nwoko, Honorable Omar Gege. There's some who've mentioned Honorable Nicholas Mutu and other areas as well, other states mentioned. Is the primaries, the option A4, actually the best because it's working for some people now? Would you say it's the best for the APC? Because some of your members are complaining that it's not the best.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. There is a saying in my place that when the squirrel is very busy chewing the ripe palm fruits, he places his tail on the one that is not ripe. What that means that is reminding the one that is not ripe that very soon in the future it will also return. So if you are in the House of Representatives representing the people, or you are in the Senate, you should remember that there is a future where you will still come back to ask for their vote. So placing your tail on them, reminding them that you will return, means that you need to connect with them, means that you need to be able to attend their function, means that you need to be able to link them up with jobs, because you are their representatives. Yes, you are a lawmaker, but one of the major functions of a representative, whether at the House of Representatives or in the Senate, is the fact that you are coming from a place where you are representing those people. You become their voice in that particular arena, be it the green chambers or in the red chambers. The 109 persons in the Senate represents the 108 senatorial districts and the one in the FCT, which makes it 109. And of course, the 360 House of Representatives constituencies that exist across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Now, if you are in that chamber, like the squirrel that I mentioned, that is very busy enjoying the ripe fruit, and did not remember that very soon there will be an unripe fruit that will become ripe for you to come back, and refuse to place your tail on top of that unripe fruit, you will be rest assured that some other persons will go and take care of that unripe fruit so that when it is ripe, they will make use of it. These individuals that have been, some of them may have done well, but not the individuals I have mentioned. But over time, you will know that we have also what we call zoning tendencies. For instance, the one that represents me in the House of Representatives, Honorable Nwokolo, Victor Nwokolo did very well in the House of Representatives. But the federal constituency is made up of 2 local government areas. And he has been representing the federal constituency from my own local government area, which is a Kano Northeast. And after some time, the sentiments of the other local governments are, this thing has been on this side. Please, can we also have a bite? So in that kind of situation, so even if you have done so well, that local arrangement, that issue of zoning formula may affect you, which is like in the case of Senator Honorable Nwokolo, because Victor Nwokolo had a good representation. He did not even bother to go and buy the farm because he knows the local sentiment that there was the need to move to Eka South. And so nobody came up from in the party in Eka Northeast. They allowed the people in Eka South to slug it out. And at the end of the day, one young fellow, honorable, the person of Osazuwa, not yet an honorable now because he just won the primary of the party, he emerged victorious, and he had a very, very sound and solid victory, because he too was on ground connecting with the people, even with the appointment given to him by the governor as one of the special advisors to the governor. He was connecting with the people, and of course, the leaders of the federal constituency also saw him as a very humble person that they needed to support. So he emerged victorious. Ditto a number of other areas. You mentioned the case of Honorable Mutu. Honorable Mutu is one person in our state that will come more or less an indigene of the National Assembly. He more or less became an indigene of the National Assembly because since 1999, he has been in the National Assembly. This particular tenure is his seventh term in the House of Representatives. He was actually gunning for the 8th term in the House of Representatives. But there are also 2 local governments in that federal constituency, which is made up of Bomadi and Patani, and that's why it's called Bomadi-Patani Federal Constituency. The people in Patani have been agitating that, look, this particular food that belongs to the 2 local governments has always been shared from one local government. Can we also have the pot from our own local government so that we can also share in the other direction by way of occupation? Because that sentiment is very, very high. Even the people who wanted to be fair in Bomadi also supported that shift. That shift, because the governor also said, all of you go to the field. This is not the time for anybody to enjoy coronation. He went to the field. The sentiment spoke very much in favor of Honorable Ganagana, who is from Patani local government area, the other leg of that particular federal constituency. There are issues like that in a number of areas. And so when people come to talk to you, interrogate them about the local peculiarities that exist, the performance that they have put up while they are in the House of Representatives or in the Senate, as the case may be, and then, of course, their connection with the people who ordinarily are the decider of this particular election. Now to the issue you raised, Joe, with respect to the mode of the primaries, the direct primary. The beauty of this is what you call in data, see me, I see you. That is, it's not a question of saying that somebody had gone to change the number in one bush. You are seeing them counting. You are seeing them recording the result. If you saw that somebody is counting and he didn't count your own, how will you allow them to leave that place? Victor was saying that they came with a foolscap. How can he say foolscap when we had result sheets for all the wards? We have 270 wards in data. The 270 wards had ward results that were filled out. We have 25 local government areas. We have 200. We also have 25 local government area sheets that they use in collating those results from the different wards. And then before you proceed to the federal constituency or the senatorial district headquarters, as the case may be. So, since it's internal, it's a good thing. It's a way of also energizing the members of the public. Some that are crying, they are crying because they did not see the opportunity to look for one delegate or the other to quarter in one hotel and then begin to use money to intimidate a number of persons. But this one, like I said, is see me, I see you.
Okay. Honorable Commissioner, before we begin to wrap up, let's talk about the fallout of this. When all is done and settled, these aggrieved members, the ones that are complaining, Victors and the others, are still members of your party. And because of the new Electoral Act, they can't defect, at least for the foreseeable future. And that portends dangers of sabotage, because you still have governorship elections, you have presidential elections coming up, and the main elections itself, when the APC candidates will be contesting in a field with other candidates from other parties. So because of the way they feel, they might want to sabotage efforts of candidates. So are there reconciliation plans? Are there plans to, speak to them and assuage them of their fears, and maybe some sort of compensation so that you can return to being one happy family?
I'm sure you are used to watching the game of football. When people go into the field and they play, of course you expect a team to win. I've never seen where those who lost out in a game of football will begin to dance and begin to cheer those who won. Sometimes you see them cry, particularly when it gets towards the final, from the semi-final to the final. You see those who will cry, but after that, they wipe their tears and then they prepare for another game. So maybe about a week or a month after, you see them preparing for another game so that they can win another time. It is inhuman to beat a child and ask that child not to cry. But as the child begins to cry, you also provide some form of a handkerchief and then use it to wipe the tears of the child. These individuals have been beaten at the field of play, and you expect them, just like in the game of football, to at least to cry a little so that they don't have a pent-up anger in them. And so when you cry, you clean the eye, and then you're able to also at least ventilate your grievances if at all there's any genuine one. And then as we make progress, the leaders of the party will also interact with them, just like the way you also ask the child not to cry too much, or they also wake up and prepare for the next election. And so all those processes are in place. You expect that once somebody is a loser cannot just come and except he was not even those who are even pretending still come and cry, not to talk of those who are actually contesting and contending with other persons. So people like Victor, you saw that the cry he's crying is just to become popular. At least he has gained something now because of that contest. He has had access to your medium to be able to speak. Perhaps if he did not contest, you would not even invite him to also come and talk to Nigerians. And so he has gained something. But as we make progress, they know those. They know that when they enter that we are not going to win.
Honorable.
And when I got to Ethiopia West yesterday, I was shocked because I thought that Senator Moagige was very prepared for the primary. But when I got to Ethiopia West, I saw that he was not prepared because there was no down ballot that was on his side. And I could see the people, the different leaders in the local government, majority of them not working with him. So how was he going to win the primary election in the party? And so those are some of the issues that we know, that there are individuals who just want to use it so that to let it not look as if they have lost out. If you are not preparing the down ballot, those who follow you, so that they can help you protect and galvanize voters at the grassroots. This is a grassroots election where the individuals who are members of the party will gather. And you are not having somebody who will help you in that place. They don't even know that you are contesting. And you want to win. It's not going to happen. In the general election, you can come and put money here and there and then talk to people who are just floating, who may even be very, very apolitical. They don't, when it comes to election, they drag them, okay, come and vote. Okay, who do you want us to vote for? In the case of party election, everybody is politically minded. That is why they belong to a political party. They are not apolitical. They have interests of their party. That is why, even at a time where other persons may not like that party, because they belong to that party, party philosophy, party ideology, party love keeps them to say, let us defend our party.
All right.
And so when individuals who are in that party knows that these principles obtains, and they are very busy enjoying the ripe palm fruits, and they didn't want to come and put their tail, place their tail on the ripe one, the result is expected.
Honorable, we want to say thank you very much for taking out the time to join us this morning. Thank you for, just, making everything straight, and, we want to hear from your side. Also, I want to make this clear that News Central at its core is developmental journalism, and that means democratizing access to all. So for all Nigerians, Africans, and even beyond, we want to connect the dots. And so everyone has a free access to come on TV television. Honorable, thank you so much. Honorable Charles Anyago, he is the Honorable Commissioner for Information for Delta State and also the APC chieftain.
Thank you, Judith and Benga.
Thank you. Thank you. Go on a short break, shall we? But coming up next on the program this morning, Governor Makinde confirms abduction of 7 teachers in Oyo school attack. Governor Makinde addresses the Oyo school attacks as well. And then from there, we head to the ADC as they inaugurate their primary election committee just ahead of 2027 election. SDP will also be meeting with INEC and insisting that the former national chairman, Shehu Gabam, remains expelled from the party. We have the details after the break. Stay with us. Still on the road to 2027, let's focus on one of the biggest opposition parties just emerging ahead of the 2027 elections, and that's the African Democratic Congress, ADC. It has now postponed its presidential and governorship screenings originally scheduled for May 16th and 17th of this year, citing insecurity in northern Nigeria. However, insiders revealed the delay also stems from internal divisions over consensus among top aspirants Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, and Mohammed Ayatu Din, now plus financial and organizational challenges as well.
The postponement comes amid heightened political activity ahead of the 2027 elections, with rival parties pressing forward with screenings and primaries. ADC risks appearing fractured and unprepared, undermining its credibility as a serious challenger to the ruling APC and PDP. Join us for a deeper look at what is really going on within the African Democratic Congress. We're joined this morning by Chieftain Dr. Ladan Salihu. One welcome to you, Dr. Salihu, and thanks for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. Now, Dr. Salihu, your party says insecurity in northern Nigeria forced postponement. Yet, other parties are conducting screening and primaries. Just yesterday, the APC conducted its senatorial primaries, despite the challenges in the country. Is your party, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, using insecurity as a cover for its unpreparedness ahead of the elections? What's really going on? We seem to be having some connection issues with Dr. Ladan Salihu. A team of engineers are working tirelessly to fix that, because it's very important we have this conversation ahead of the party's primaries, and also ask Dr. Salihu many other questions with regards to the ADC. So we'll keep trying to reestablish communication and contact with Dr. Ladan Salihu, Chieftain of the ADC.
In the meantime, there are many questions that are arising just ahead of the postponement. One of them, of course, is the issue of insecurity, but also another is the matter of screening. Three important figures have all picked express forms to run as a candidate for the ADC. Now, the question is, who will emerge the winner of their primaries, or whether they would follow the route of the APC and go consensus. And those are one of the critical questions that are being heard. Now, we know that there's an unspoken gentleman agreement when it comes to power rationing within Nigeria, 4 years, or rather 8 years to the north, 8 years to the south. And that agreement is what's been upheld regarding the presidential position to be going to the south. Now, if the ADC either goes with Hayatu Din or Atiku Abubakar, that means they are going against that unspoken gentleman's agreement. And those are one of the questions that are on the minds of every observer
but I think
and Nigerians
the ADC
as well.
has addressed that issue by saying there's no zoning formula within the ADC. If there was a zoning formula, they wouldn't sell expression of interest forms to Mr. Atiku and the others from the north. So, okay, we have Dr. Ladan Salihu back. So, Dr. Salihu, my question was, what's really going on? The ADC says it's insecurity, but other parties are engaging in political activities across the country.
Yeah, other parties, especially the APC, the ruling party, are operating in their comfort zones with all the instruments of the control of violence and, the challenges of insecurity at their disposal. We don't have that luxury. What we have is pure grassroots organization and, supporters of the party at, every level of, the political strata. And we are not guaranteed, the kind of security that the ruling party, has. And there are other considerations too. So the idea of doing, some, not all of the screenings, are restricted or confined to, the states, not even all the states that have insecurity, is to ensure that we we take care of, the business of securing our candidates, our supporters, and to make sure that the diligent nature of the process we are undertaking is not compromised. And so that's the reason we were very comfortable with it. And I have been to some of the screening centers, the one that I visited in Abuja here, a beehive of activities, and the reports we're getting from states that are, conducting their primaries or have conducted, in the northeast, especially in Borno, Bauchi, Taraba, Gombe, elsewhere. Everything is going on perfectly well. And so you expect to hear a lot of stories from the other side of the aisle that will suggest that we cannot organize these activities. And people are very upbeat about, the prospects of.
Fortunately, it seems we're battling with network connectivity issues in order to enjoy this conversation with Dr. Saliu. But Dr. Saliu, it will be a pleasure if you can actually hear us, or better still, we'll try as much as possible to put a call through as the video conferencing is not working. But can you hear us, Dr. Saliu? Let's try again. I mean, you were answering the question posed to you.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Let's try again. Just this morning, there are rumors. We call it rumors because it's there, and we need you to actually confirm. There are rumors that the former Vice President, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, isn't feeling well. Hence why the postponement. I mean, how true is that?
No, it's not true. It's just a reshuffling of internal logistic issues and realignment of timetables to ensure that everybody is on board. Atiku Abubakar, just like any other human being, if there are reports about him being sick, it's just like a report about.
Okay. Can you also...
But to this point that I speak with you, I was in his house yesterday in the company of some early morning prayers. He equally said his afternoon prayers, and went upstairs to take a rest. And he was back, he has had his dinner yesterday with the members of his household. So to the best of my knowledge, I don't have any reports from his doctor, suggesting that he is ill. Dr. Azun Dukwe would probably have told some of us that he's sick. But to this point, and to the best of my knowledge, he's good to go.
All right. You say it's good to go, but let's try and do this. Let's see if we can reconnect with you via the phone and have this conversation to an end. One thing that is actually in the minds of Nigerians and questions we'd love to ask is the fact that is the ADC still maintaining its fact that it's a formidable force ahead of the 2027 elections? That's one. Secondly, I would also like to look at statements that were made just yesterday, a few hours ago, by former Minister of Transport and also former Governor, Honorable Rotimi Amechi, stating clearly that he's not going to back down and is going to go head on into the primaries, especially with rumors also swelling that there was this request for consensus. These are the questions we'd like to hear answers to, especially from the horse's mouth. Dr. Sali, you hear from him if these statements are true, if they actually did take place. But he's dispelled the one that's circulating everywhere, that the former vice president is ill, hence why the postponement and the move.
Well, we will wait to try to see if we can reconnect with him. There's also the issue of defections as well within the ADC, because we do understand that as Peter Obi and Kwankwaso has exited the party to the NDC, that also means that members as well, their supporters, that's the Kwankwasia and the Obedience, have also, so they must have lost in ranks and numbers when it comes to the ADC. how will that play out ahead of campaign season? We understand he's back with us. Sir, if you're with us, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
I'll let Joe continue here.
All right. I mean, I think it's better now that we can have a phone conversation. It's a bit more clearer. So
Any which way.
Okay, all right. So you've dispelled the rumors now. It's not true. The former Vice President, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is hale and hearty. It's not because of any case of being unwell that led to any postponement. Confirm?
Confirmed positive, it's not.
I'm sure you also saw the interview that's been circulating from Trust's TV, where another presidential aspirant under the ADC, a former governor, a former minister of transportation, His Excellency Rotimi Amechi, saying that he's not going to back down. He's ready to go head on with the former vice president, despite the fact that many have said, you know what, let's just leave it to the former vice president. What's your take on that?
Well, first of all, we have said it from the onset, from the very beginning, that all contestants, all aspirants will be given a level playing field by the, by the ADC to vote and to be voted for. And we have maintained that position, from day one, and it has not changed. The options on the table when it comes to, the presidential primaries are, direct primaries, and then, consensus. That has been adopted by, other parties. And one is left to wonder why the hue and cry about, what our own party is doing. Let it be understood that it is the norm every day in a democracy for, candidates to come out and exercise their rights to contest. What Rotimi Amechi did, is consistent with the principles of our party, of our internal democracy, and going forward with the vision and mission of the African Democratic Congress. It shows you transparency. It shows you that everybody can aspire. It shows you that everybody can contest. But, you flip the coin for a while and, look at the APC, the ruling party. Even before the whole process started, they've already, nullified every other candidate. It is only one man standing, that is President Bola Tinubu. And nobody is scrutinizing that process, scandalous and embarrassing as it is politically for a nation. And so here we are. And the searchlight is now being put on opposition parties and putting pressure on aspirants and presumed candidates, to try and make it look like it's a clumsy affair. No, it is. The ADC, as we speak, is very organized, is very focused, and is very resilient on the core issues that attend to, primaries, conventions, and of producing, a presidential candidate. And so everybody, Hayatuddin, Rotimi Amechi, Atiku, and any other person that is interested that has picked up forms will be given a level playing field. At the end of it, one candidate would emerge, and they've given us their own vow at the very beginning that any candidate that comes out, as a winner, he will be supported by the rest and by the rank and file and members of the party. So I am convinced that this process is still on, is still valid, and is genuinely being pursued by our leadership of the party to ensure that we are on cue, going forward.
Your party is contesting is to, produce the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And there's a long way to go in order to achieve that. And the last time the opposition defeated an incumbent president, they had to close ranks. It was the form of a coalition. And the way things are going, it seems like the opposition is even getting further fractured. There was hope just a few months ago that ADC was going to be that vehicle to drive this opposition change. And then His Excellency Peter Obi left, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso left, and now we even have the Oyo State Governor throwing his hat in the race. How do you plan to achieve getting your candidate to the presidential villa with such a fractured opposition and knowing that your ranks have been decimated with the exit of Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and Peter Obi?
Well, I want to disagree with you on the fact that our own ranks have been decimated by the departure of Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and Peter Obi. Look, what people don't understand is that when these people got into the ADC, they came with their own supporters. But when they left, they didn't leave with all of their supporters. 60 to 70% of their core supporters have remained within the party. And yes, we would have loved to have them within our ranks. There's no hiding that fact, because every vote matters, every vote counts. And but the fact that they leave does not necessarily translate into the cog on the wheel of progress of the ADC. Let me give you this, and I've said it in other, appearances and interviews. When you look at, say, Kwankwaso, for instance, Kwankwaso won, 997,000 votes in Kano. Outside Kano State, he has not gotten 100,000 in any state in Nigeria. In Sokoto, he got less than 20. In the FCT here, he got less than 5,000 votes. And so and you don't want to talk about states like Jigawa or Katsina, less than 60,000 votes. So it's all hype. It's all about, the vessels that make the most noise. And when you knock on, you see empty vessels at that. Now, for the Obi, for Peter Obi, well, he is the master of, how do you call it now? He's a master of nomadic politics from PDP, when at the time, he was to join his ticket with Atiku Abubakar, he left. He got into Labour Party. He tried his best. His best was not good enough. He came back and joined the ADC, and then discovered that his radar wouldn't pick the presidential ticket on his own terms. He wouldn't want to subject himself to the process of he wouldn't want to present himself, to the entire process and the due diligence that comes with it, so that everybody is given a level playing field, like I said. And so he also left, but he didn't leave with 100% of his supporters. A lot of them stayed with us. And so what is most important in the quest for political power, as far as the opposition is concerned, the success of the opposition movement can only be achieved through, aggregating our forces, our strength, and everything on the table, in one-stop shop, so that we succeed. And you now have NDC in the South. You have OB, and also in the Southeast. You have Atiku Abubakar largely, or in every state, but predominantly in the northern part of the country. And you have, the APC probably localized now in the Southwest largely. And so we are operating within our various cocoons of ethnic and geopolitical callings.
The only difference in this whole setup is that the ADC provides the most veritable, the most reasonable and workable platform for all the opposition parties, to coalesce. And I can assure you in the coming months, you will see a lot of them returning back to the ADC, because that's the place to be. One-stop shop political party that has been so needlessly ambushed by the ruling party and by everyone else who is an apologist of the ruling party, into making sure that we are brought down to our knees. But we have survived. We have shown character. We have shown resilience. We have shown the fighting spirit that a political party should have. So we are not bothered by the challenges. We are inspired by the kind of deprivation, and the issues of insecurity, youth unemployment, lack of education, infrastructure deficit. These are the things that worry the ADC. We're not worried about the tantrums that are being thrown at us by, those who oppose us, because they know the quality that we have on the table, and they lack that quality.
I don't know if you can hear me. I mean, Dr. Sali, if you can hear me, I just want to ask you a question as we look to wrap up this conversation. So, in your conversation, you said you regarded Peter as a nomadic politician. But let me also remind you that in 1989, you had the former vice president who was in PFN, of which he moved to the SDP. From the SDP, he did move to UNCP. And I think I found, yes, UNCP in 1997, 1998. From the UNCP, he moved to the PDP. PDP moved to the AC. AC moved to the APC. APC, of course, moved back to the PDP. And from the PDP, now he is with the ADC. That's a long list. So, do you think it's okay to compare nomadic? Does it also apply to a former vice president? That's question one I'd like you to answer. And my last question would be, what is the latest concerning the Supreme Court and the Federal High Court's judgment on the ADC? What's the latest? But let's start off with the first question.
You see, the kind of roadmap of defections and movements from one party to the other that you've said is predominantly, cuts across every big political stalwart, including President Bola Tinubu. He has also changed parties severally before he eventually had a fusion of his own party and the, Buhari's led President Buhari of blessed memories party that now produced him. Look, to me, the conversation is vital when people try to give a negative connotation and characterization, singling out one person. And I have said it, and it is true. One would have loved to see Peter Obi forming a party and pulling away with his, supporters, testing his own, political strength on a platform that he has created. It is not so with Atiku Abubakar. Whenever Atiku Abubakar had a cause to move to another party, go and check the reasons. It is because of foul play. It is because of imposition. It's because of lack of internal party democracy from where he left, and lack of credibility in the system. And whenever he left, he had...
Dr. Saliu, if you can hear me, I don't know if you can hear me, Dr. Saliu. I want us to just look at this, in clarity. That's pretty much the same thing with Mr. Peter Gregory Obi. We don't speak for him, but as journalists, when we see the word nomadic, I mean, we've had cause, even in the newsroom here, to just laugh at such statements as nomadic politician. There's no such thing as nomadic. And why we say so, I mean, you brought it up, so we just wanted to clarify it. Because even your principal has changed parties. And the reason why he's changed parties is what you just mentioned now, because there were issues in the party. The parties, Mr. Peter Gregory has also left. There's also been issues there. Is it not the Labour Party that has issues up until date? Is it not the PDP that is currently struggling to even ensure they fill the presidential candidate? Or your party, which is the ADC, where your principal, of course, former vice president, said he is not going to back down for anyone, and he doesn't see any reason why it should move to the south. It should remain in the north, because it would be a mistake if it moves to the south. And that posed a problem for him, and he said, no, I am going to be a presidential candidate. Hence, let's go shopping for one that will not have any mixed reactions or differences. So I'm trying to get your understanding, because when we say nomadic, we really need to understand the context. And if one is saying this person is nomadic and that person too has moved from party A to party B, what's the difference? But anyway, I'd like you to answer the second question, because we're almost out of time, which has got to do with the judiciary. What's the update? Because I want us to quench this nomadic conversation. It actually, if it fits Mr. A, it should also fit Mr. B. I mean, but let's move on to the next question, if you permit me, please.
Well, it's your right to interrogate, your guests and to proffer your own perspective and to even editorialize. We've been there before. And I can assure you that what I said stands. And that is the way I see him. And there's nothing you can do or anybody can do to change my own opinion as I put to it. The second question is, what again, if you want to oblige me, because I'm not particularly stable with the network as we speak.
I was asking what the update is with the cases concerning the ADC, the Supreme Court, the Federal High Court. Any updates?
To be honest with you, we're not so bothered about the court cases. I think the worst days of the court cases are behind us. Look, if you have a Supreme Court that said, in a unanimous decision by 5 judges, that the structure and leadership of the party now obtains, there is nothing the lower court can do now to tell David Mark and his exco to exit the party. And so the status of the lawsuits, as we speak in 2 days, the one lawsuit had to do with state party chairmen, 6 of them out of 36, and the FCT. Their tenure is about to expire in about 72 hours. So that case will die, a natural death, because they don't have any locals going forward. The one for Nafiu Gombe, has been adjourned sine die, indefinitely in layman's terms. And so we have a clean slate. Indefinitely is indefinitely. And whenever the courts decide to rule, we are so confident, we are upbeat, that nothing will come out of the courts that will derail the position and posture and structure of the ADC under David Mark. That has been given a seal and a stamp of approval by the Supreme Court. And, we are concerned now about, about issues that will propel the party to greatness come 2027. And, and I'm sad, my brothers and sisters, that as we hold this conversation, the debates and discussions and dialogues about politics have eclipsed co-national issues, such as the killings of 7, the abduction of 30 people or more from Oyo State, that are right now in the national park, in custody of terrorists, and the killing of a teacher. and the issues of starvation and hunger in the land. I believe that conversations at this stage should be directed towards scrutinizing and interrogating politicians and political parties on the core issues that affect the survival, the security, well-being, and welfare of our people. We spend and dissipate so much energy on individuals, on dramatis personae that will go someday. We will all go, and will be when we would have been gone. Then the generation that will follow will ask questions and probably condemn this generation for not putting our eyes, for not going for the bull's eye, but for debating and discussion on issues that primarily exist in our own primordial political sentiments. I am disappointed, but then that is why the ADC is there to provide, a platform to get us out of these challenges of nation building, of democracy, and so on.
Very much for your time, Dr. Ladan Saliu, ADC chieftain, for sharing your thoughts with us on the latest updates concerning the ADC and for clarifying issues, especially with the rumors that are indeed spreading around. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us. We'll go to a quick break. Breakfast Headlines is up next, followed by the front pages of the newspapers where you can have your say as well. Stay with us.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Boroa. Teachers in Ogbomoso, Oyo State on Monday halted classroom activities and staged a peaceful protest to the TESCOM office over the abduction of colleagues and students in Orire local government area. Protesters carried placards urging federal and state authorities to intensify rescue efforts for victims still held by kidnappers. They also called for stronger security presence around schools and safer conditions for learning. Governor Shehu Gabam said 7 teachers and an unconfirmed number of pupils were abducted during attacks on schools, with one of the teachers killed. Security agencies have since launched joint rescue operations across affected areas. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has condemned as barbaric the killing of one of the abducted teachers of the Esiele community in Ogbomoso, Oyo State. In a statement issued on Monday, Bayo Onunga, special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, said the teacher was killed when rescue operations are underway. Gunmen had attacked the Baptist Nazarene Primary School, Yawota Community Grammar School, Esiele, and LA Community Primary School in Ogbomoso, all in Orire local government area of the state. The Oyo State Police Command said 2 people were killed during the attack on the schools. At least 45 school children, a principal and teachers were reportedly kidnapped during the incident. The family of the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has called on the Department of State Services to release the former governor into the custody of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC. The wife and son of the former governor says the DSS are holding him contrary to the agreement with the courts, which mandated that El-Rufai be remanded in custody of the ICPC. It says his arrest and subsequent arraignment and a political witch hunt arranged to break the spirit of the former governor following fears of his activities with Nigeria's opposition parties.
We are worried as a family because we've just seen what Timmy Frank has said. And they have told us point blank that no family member will see him again. So what happens to his feeding? Does that mean that they will feed him themselves? We're asking this question. What if he refused to eat their food?
I think this goes beyond Malam. It's really a shame what we've become as a nation. And a lesson to everybody that if we keep doing this back and forth, we have lost dignity and humanity. I don't need to reiterate how proud I am of Malam, his legacy in this country, including here in Abuja, as he governed Kaduna. But let's not pretend. I heard somebody said, let's not make this political. I am telling you, it is political.
He was outside this country. He was invited by the EFCC, and he will fly all the way from Cairo back to Nigeria to submit himself. So we're calling for his immediate release, and the bail conditions. He's one of the elite in Nigeria, so he should be on self-recognition. He deserves that, I believe so.
The Social Democratic Party, SDP, has met with the officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The national chairman of the party, Professor Sadiq Gombe, subsequently briefed newsmen of the details of the meeting, saying that the SDP will stand by its constitution, which is the ground norm of the party, and that the SDP followed due process in expelling its former national chairman, Shehu Gabam, who has ceased to become a member of the party.
The NEC has ratified and approved his expulsion from the party. From that day, he ceased to be a member of the party. And by the party constitution, Article 19C is specific. If an erring member is disciplined for whatever purpose, he has 5 working days within which to appeal through the internal mechanism of the party to appeal the disciplinary measure on him. Alhaji Shehu Musa Gabam did not use any of the internal mechanism of the party to appeal. And the 5 days elapses, after the NEC on the 14th. Until date, he did not go to any court of competent jurisdiction to challenge his suspension, expulsion by the NEC, and we had our convention.
And thousands gathered in Hargeisa on Monday as Somaliland celebrated its independence anniversary, the first since Israel recognized it as a sovereign state in December. The event featured military parades, cultural displays, and traditional dances across the capital. Israel became the first country to formally recognize Somaliland since the territory declared autonomy from Somalia in 1991. The decision has drawn attention across the Horn of Africa and renewed debate over Somaliland's international status. Somaliland has operated within its own government, currency and security institutions for more than 3 decades, although Somalia continues to regard it as part of its territory. That's all on Breakfast Headlines. I am Ben Gabro. Our Breakfast Central continues shortly with the newspaper headlines. Do stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Breakfast Central. We understand that it's actually raining cats and dogs out there. And despite the fact that it's raining cats and dogs and heavily, our guest was able to make it to the studio. So I want to say thank you so much for being here. We are publisher of the niche newspaper, Mr. Ike Chukwu Amechi in the house.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amechi. Always a pleasure to see you. And thanks for using all the necessary means of transportation to get here by any means necessary. Canoe, bus, train, airplane, boats.
Oh, okay.
We're happy to have you. And I guess we should just get straight to the action.
Absolutely. And, let's do so.
It's nice that you're a journalist and you're also an analyst. So this headline, we'll be looking at it from both points of view, and also issues bordering on the soul of our nation. APC Senate primaries, Daniel Amosun Rochas crash out. These are former governors. These are big wigs.
That's a Punch newspaper.
And they've lost out in the APC primaries. Punch newspapers. Abiodun Uzodinma Bello win. And the writer says APC disqualifies 44 aspirants, ex-Ogun Deputy Governor. We also have Omo Agege, Ned Nwoko, Ezeyamu lose in disputed polls. Okowa, ex-Governor Yero Dafinone triumph. We also have gunshots erupt in Ondo primary. So the headline, I mean, Punch has decided to go for the main one, the politics and primaries. And atop of the newspaper there, or your abduction, outrage beheads. Outrage spreads after teachers beheaded. Mr. President finally released a statement 3 days after the abduction of the students. And some have said, look, we should better pause all this politicking we're doing. This person lost out. This person is doing this, to focus on what really matters. That's the sanctity of life, and the fact that it seems the president is failing at the basic responsibility of protecting Nigerian lives. Well, we're going about politicking and saying, oh, this person lost this primaries and all of that. How do you merge these two stories?
Well, it was really a sad day yesterday when the news broke that one of the Oyo teachers that was abducted together with colleagues and students was beheaded by the terrorists. I think we continue making these mistakes of calling these guys bandits and all that. They are terrorists.
Absolutely.
Pure and simple. And you know, I don't know what else to say on this issue. Of course, we've had the normal, we will get them, we won't give them a breathing space and all that. Who sends the authority that will come from the presidency?
Okay, we were told, let's quickly go for a break. We'll go for a quick break so we can actually work on Mr. Ikechuk's sound. Clara, don't forget to, before we go on that break, I want you to look at the phone lines on the screen so you can also call in once we return, and then you can react to some of the stories we've taken this morning and the ones that definitely are on the front pages of the newspapers after the break. Welcome back. Breakfast Central is the program you're watching here on News Central Television. We are looking at the front pages of the newspapers. Our guest is publisher the Niche newspaper, Mr. Ikechukwu Amechi, and the Punch newspaper is where we're starting off from. Don't forget that you can call in as well and react to some of the stories that you'd find on the front pages of the Punch newspaper. Before we went on the break, you were reacting to one of the stories, so I think I'll let you go ahead with your reactions.
Yeah, all I was saying that whatever it is that the president said yesterday is not new. I think we're getting so used to the condolence messages from the president. But the truth of the matter is that yesterday, some people or somebody lost a father, a woman lost a husband, some people lost an uncle, and all that. It may even well be that some parents lost a son, assuming that the man's parents were still alive. And you ask yourself, what is the value of life in Nigeria? I will tell you, zero. And despite the pronouncement by the presidency yesterday, life moves on. In the next 2 to 3 days, nobody's going to be talking about that man again. He's been killed, he's been killed. And we're looking at where it will happen next. Don't forget that there were killings in Borno over the weekend. And all that. When will this end? We've said here many times, the primary responsibility of the government is the security of lives and property of the people. And while in opposition, this same president that we have today, Bola Tinubu, said, told Jonathan, if you can't protect the lives and property of Nigerians, then you have no business being the president of Nigeria. So all these, they don't make sense. But beyond what is said and what is not being said, I ask myself, how is it that human beings created by God would wake up in the morning and behead fellow human beings? Even animals, wild animals, don't kill for fun. Why that name has not killed for fun? But here we have human beings who will kill in the most gruesome manner to make a statement. Because all what they did was to get the attention, which they are getting now. So that if they are demanding for ransom, of course, after all the bravado and all that and won't pay, they will go behind and pay. Because that's about the only way to guarantee the safety of the other people who are still in detention. So the principal, the teacher that was killed has become the sacrificial lamb used to make a statement that we are serious and all that. Talk about a failed state. Nigeria is. Nigeria is. So that, because if schools should be children in every other jurisdiction in this world, children are treated in such a way that in fact, they are handled so delicately. But here, people go to schools, take away children in schools, keep them away in the forest. Don't forget that the 2014 Chibok adoptions, how many years after, some of those girls are not yet here.
But Mr. Mechi, many will disagree with your description of Nigeria as a failed state in the sense that things are still going on. There's a semblance of life, and they will say, these are just hiccups and in the wheels of progress that you still have primaries hold across most states in the federation. Politicians are still going about their activities. So there's no, they would call you an alarmist for saying Nigeria is a failed state. How do you respond to that? I'll respond simply by saying that go and look at the indices of human development and see where Nigeria is on all scores. That you're able to hold the primaries or that you're able to stay in Abuja. I dare say that the ungoverned territories where the sovereignty of the Nigerian state does not extend to is almost as much as where the Nigerian government superintends. So what is the definition of a third state? A country where you go to sleep and you're not sure of waking up in the morning. A country where you go to sleep and people will come and slaughter 200 people gruesomely and nothing happens. Go and find out how many Nigerians are living in IDP camps in their own country at a time when we claim that we are not in a state of war. So, we like deceiving ourselves. We like lying to ourselves that because the president wakes up in the morning, surrounded, and don't forget, this is a president who went to Plateau State to condole with victims and could not leave the airport because nobody could guarantee the safety. If a president is afraid of going into town to condole with the victims, what more? Citizens who have nothing. Doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
Still on the story and just looking at, this situation and the outrage that have now come out from the teachers beheading, you cited Boko Haram, you cited the girls, the Chibok girls, back in 2014. And roughly 12 years after, we're here, another school abduction, but this time primary and secondary school. But never have we seen something as gruesome as this when it comes to abduction of school children. And we saw from last year the case of Niger State and area school, but not this gruesome. And the thing that I want to talk about is precedents that this was set. The Chibok girls incident sort of skyrocketed, and we saw more school abductions, the more bolder they became with their attacks, but never like this. What's changed?
Nothing changed fundamentally, except that these guys, look, the oxygen of terrorism is the kind of attention that this incident has attracted now. And of course, you know, the more gruesome their acts, the more they get attention. These kidnappings were done last week.
Friday.
And there was no statement from the presidency.
No statement until tomorrow by 5, yesterday rather, 5 p.m.
Until yesterday. Because a teacher had been beheaded. So nothing has changed except that the terrorists are always looking for an opportunity to advertise themselves, to instill fears in the people. And don't forget, yes, this might be the first time that
we're seeing this type of action.
Yes, but it is not the first time in that sense, because we have also seen there was a time I think in Abuja, a family, the children were kidnapped.
And they killed the boy.
A girl. One of the girls were killed.
Yes.
To make the same statement they are making today. It is in the character of terrorists to do what they are doing so as to instill fears in the people, to say we are serious. And of course, it will get international attention. That's what they are looking for. So it behoves the government, beyond the rhetoric of issuing statements and condoling with the bereaved families. When will this stop? When will this stop? When do we, look, which other country, even the countries that are at war, where people are killed, Nigeria is one of the most terrorized countries in the world. Which other country are people being treated the way they are being treated? Citizens going through humiliation that no other. Imagine if this was to be in any other other country. I don't even if you want to call about the US. They will tell you that you're comparing apples and bananas.
I'm sure there would have been an update, a live update.
Exactly.
Following up on how the police is doing.
Even the press, the attention of all the media will be on that.
But,
every minute.
But we need to go on a quick break. When we come back, Mr. Mitchell, I'd like us to look at the press and its influence on some of these stories, especially with the primaries that's around the corner. We'll go on a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Still looking at the front pages of the newspapers. I think it's time we move away from the Punch, even though there's a lot that's going on. Let's go straight to Nigerian Tribune. Let's look at the Nigerian Tribune. A lot of stories there to look into. As usual, front pages, you do have Senate primaries, Uzodinma, Okowa, Bello pick APC ticket. Just 2 cigarettes daily raise heart failure risk, 50% study says. Ondo APC group petitions national chairman over alleged kangaroo reps primaries. Whatever like it or not. Whatever like it or not, we just have to find a way to delve into it. And I wanted to ask you the media's role looking at the primaries. First of all, ADC screens. You have Labour Party coming out to say their forms are for free. The embattled chairman, like they say, can be called former now, and also the current one. I don't know what your take is. What we've been seeing, the drama, the counting.
Joe, we continue deceiving ourselves. Luckily, I was with a state governor recently who said we don't have a democracy in Nigeria.
That's a strong one.
And it is true.
Why do you say so?
Because there's no democracy. Look, there are parameters for
rating a democracy or something.
Rating or measuring what you call a democracy. The people are far removed from all the processes, starting from the primaries. I was watching on another television this morning a lady who was an aspirant in Cross River State.
Cross River State.
And she was narrating her experience. She bought a form. I think sometime last week, she said that they were invited to a meeting. Of course, they didn't invite her, but she managed to bulldoze her way into the meeting. And what was the message? That the governor had directed that so and so person must be given the ticket. Every other person was booted out. And you go and check across all the states. In all the states that all these so-called primaries have taken place, it is the governors that are calling
the shots.
APC governors.
Mr. Mechi, hold your thoughts there. We have Frank from Port Harcourt. We still have
except for
quite a lot to talk about with regards to that.
Except Fubara.
Yes. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, you all in the studio.
Good morning.
Go ahead and talk to us frankly.
The adoption of the students in Oyo State. This morning, I'm not happy. The adoption is condemnable and unaccepted. I want to appeal to Mr. President once again today that his responsibility is for him to protect all Nigerians and the governor of Oyo State to protect all Oyo people. Now they are talking about going to, President is talking about going to second tenure, while the Oyo State governor is talking about being the next president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. His own people are dying. It's not good. Let them do something about this killing. Look at how they beheaded the teacher, and they are now talking about how to solve this problem. They have all it takes for them to solve this problem. I remember in River State here when Amechi was governor, shooting on every day. And Amechi stood on that to make sure that he stopped that, and today is bygone. Even we can do the same thing. What is so difficult that they cannot handle there? Please, our president, I'm carrying this morning for the life of the man that they beheaded. It's not good. It's not good. This is a person's husband and father. President Tinubu, do something. I'm not happy. Thank you and God bless you.
Very much, Frank. Back to you, Mr. Mechi. You said...
if you don't get the blessing of a governor, at least APC governor, now forget it. Don't even go to buy the form.
But those who purchased and were singing on your mandate, what happened?
What happened is what happens in every situation where even enlightened self-interest should tell you that public good should be the only
overriding
determinant of whatever action you take. All those people in the National Assembly who crafted this Electoral Act, the 2026 Electoral Act,
they are the ones.
They were looking at other people, but now it has caught up with them.
Nemesis.
So it is karma. It has caught up with them.
Is it karma or nobody exists in a vacuum?
But they don't. That's whether anything. But it is more of nemesis. It is more of karma, because when you do things not because it is the right thing to do, but you want to score a political point, or you are looking at another person, that person may sidestep the banana peel, and you are going to be the person who is going to trip on it. and fall. That is what has happened to many of the National Assembly members that are now crying. The laws they have made. And unfortunately for them, the same act says...
You can't move.
You can't move.
You can't move. So they are trapped.
Now, Mr. Mechi, what do you say to members of the political class that say, you know, we're expecting too much? Nigeria is a nascent democracy. That's their favorite word to use, that we're just undergoing teething problems, that the United States will be 250 years this year. Is it just a lazy talk or an excuse for the lack of foresight to fix the problems we're in?
Both. It's both a lazy talk and the lack of the moral courage to do what is right. Don't forget, Benga, we're not reinventing the wheel. We are not discovering democracy. This has been there, practiced for centuries. All we need to do is to tap into the whole process. And democracy, for crying out loud, as defined by Abraham Lincoln, government of the people, by the people, for the people. A democracy that is lacking the people content, which is what our democracy is lacking majorly, cannot be described as a democracy. It could be any other form of government.
But Joe says something about the people, and it's right, it's the government of the people, but the people, the Nigerian people, are they even ready for the proper democracy? Or do the people deserve the type of government you get? Because until you get a critical mass of people that know what is good for them and they have a conscience, then we'll continue to get what we have, is garbage in, garbage out. Because it's the ordinary people that are doing asymmetrical counting now. 1, 15, 36, 200.
You may be right in a way. As I was also driving to the studio this morning, I was listening to news that now 4 people had been killed in Kenya because there is a massive
protest,
fuel price increase, 20-something%, and the people now speed out onto the streets. Here we have had almost 1,000 or 100% increase,
right.
And nobody is protesting. But why I said you may be right, you may be wrong, is that also when the so-called democracy, when people say the people deserve the government they get, that presupposes that you elected the people who are governing you.
Just a second. I understand.
But in this case, they didn't elect the people.
Exactly.
Just a second. I understand we do have a caller. Tony is on the line, or rather Chima from Kano. Forgive me. Chima, a very good morning to you. Apologies for keep you waiting. Please continue. Please, your submission. Chima, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Especially to your guest. I'm following what you are saying. I say, hello, can you hear me?
Please continue.
Yes. I totally agree with your guest. Democracy Nigeria. What we entered in 1999 was the one chance. Fight this, we entered in 1999 and follow up of the people of the Church Republic. This time gave us what we entered to. Nigeria is now becoming a failed state. A failed state. No hope. Becoming an election. How are we sure that our vote will count? Because that is our only hope. That's our only hope. The talks have hijacked the political state. The people were helpless. In fact, the way I'm seeing this country now, nobody can say this is what is going to happen to us. There's no hope for our youth. The best thing anybody can celebrate now is having a vision to leave Nigeria. Is it the Nigeria of our dream? So what is it? So happening now, the people now, they don't even want democracy to come. They want to tell you, the only hope I have, and the only hope all of us will have is that all these people who are destroying this country, none of their children will live here. That is for sure. None of their children will live here. Because after destroying this nation, their children will relocate. And that is the only hope I have. There is a hope for a new Nigeria. And I think a new Nigeria is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chima. I want to say something, sir. We've been talking about our democracy, but the democracy itself, the very mechanism that makes it work when it comes to election processes, by far and large, for lack of a better word, popularity, right? And to amass a popularity, you need to canvass for that. So in the Nigerian context, that is empowerment, whichever way you choose to look at it, whether it's by cash or by arms, one way or the other, to canvass for popularity and to win a contest, you need to have all the arsenals in your all the weapons in your arsenal. But with that in mind, you have all of these individuals who want to hold positions of power. For example, the primaries that is happening with the State House of Assemblies or the federal, or the National House of Assembly. Everyone is trying to get into. Those who are former governors are trying to get into. Those who are incumbents are trying to get into. And that is now a play of power. Isn't democracy not exactly the best fit for a country like ours? Is there not should we now start looking at other avenues where we can, as a people, because do away with all of this? Because when you think about it, by and large,
we're not even talking issues.
No. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. So everybody wants to go in. They're all political jobbers, so to speak. Their job is to hold positions of powers. The very tenets of democracy and those who hold elections, we have changed it here. The Nigerian context has to come in. Our cultural factor has to come in. Do we not think that we should start moving the needle away from democracy to another type of system where it works with our peculiarities?
If we move away from democracy, where do we go to? Do we go to authoritarian regimes? Do we go to military, back to military coups? Democracy ought to be the best in a form of government.
Republican.
Democracy ought to be the best in a form of government. But it must be democracy. That was why I said earlier, we don't have a democracy. This is not a democracy. What democracy guarantees you is not that the best will always win. But it affords you the opportunity every 4 years or every 5 years, as the case may be, to review what you did 4 years ago. For instance, in 2023, President Bola Tinubu said, if I don't give you power in 4 years, don't vote for me again in 2027. He said that. President Bola Tinubu said, any government that cannot protect the lives and property of the people has no business being there. He said it. So, 4 years after should be a referendum on how far this man has been able to go in fulfilling those promises that he made. And this is why this is so sad. A democracy that does not promote accountability. Who in Nigeria today, apart from those that are running around in the corridors of power, who in Nigeria today would say, with all sense of sincerity, that he's better off today than he was in 2023? I doubt if there is any. So, is security better today than it was prior to the coming of Bola Tinubu? I have my doubts. It is worse. So, Judith, when you say let us move away from, there is nothing wrong with democracy. It is that we continue corrupting everything. And we have corrupted the system. Even republicanism that you're talking about. Is it a democracy is about people being Republican in the orientation, in their thinking.
We don't have that.
So that is why I said ab initio. The first comment I made is that we don't have a democracy. So for us to be confusing what is going on today with the fact that, yes, because we claim that this is a democracy, therefore it must be, or the fact that we claim because every 4 years an election is held, election in quote, this is not a democracy. And that goes back to what Wenga asked earlier, whether we can say that the people deserve the government they get. Yes, if, only if, the government was elected by the people. Democracy does not guarantee that the best will always win, like I said. But 4 years down the road, if you feel you've made a mistake, Nigerians elected Goodluck Jonathan in 2011. For whatever it is worth, 4 years down the road, they said, no, let's try another. That is what democracy is all about. This idea that, look, I get angry when people say, yes, he must complete his 8 years.
His 8 years.
The Constitution does not.
It's a one term of 4 years, but sadly,
guarantee
we're
anybody
out of
8 years.
time. We have completed our own term on Breakfast Central this morning. It's time for Jasiri to also
So you've done a 4-year term.
To try their own luck and throw their hat in the ring for another 1 hour.
Hoping that the counting.
Then at the end of the year, we'll see which program is doing best.
Wenga, we need to check your blood pressure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amici. Always a pleasure
Thank you very
speaking
much.
with
Thank you.